The state has tried to block information from being obtained by Sifiso Moyo for years. Remember that at some point after Senzo was shot and unalived, Sifiso Moyo and the family, they tried to send someone to Gauteng to try and investigate ukuthi yini eyenzeka kuSenzo Moyo. But the police tried their level best to hide the truth. Just listen to Sifiso Moyo and his cousin Siyabonga Miya explaining ukuthi what happened. Just watch.
Igama lami nguSiyabonga Miya, umzala kaSifiso. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kuzokhumbuleka ukuthi this case kusakhona ubaba ngo-2014 sacela abakaMagma ukuthi bayos-investigatela. And abakaMagma babuya oshahidi bathi they were never given an opportunity to do investigation. They were not even allowed to go in a scene of crime or in the scene of crime, and they suspect ukuthi there is no one who came inside the house and pulled the trigger, but everyone was inside the house ngokwe observation yabo. We then from there decided to go to Johannesburg, reading from the media which some police officials are taking out the case, and then we asked those, we managed to trace and locate those police who were taken off the case, and we interviewed them. We said, why guys are you being taken out of the case? They said Sivaliwe to talk about the case because our perspective says ukuthi there is no one who entered the house at that particular time. Was it to no, let's take these guys out of the investigation. Up until to fast forward, ngomhla ka-2 I was sent by Sifiso Noma to Johannesburg to meet DPP uChauke. To my surprise, washesha nje to receive invite here. So I said no, we must come up. Then I came up. DPP Chauke said to me on record, we have a recording, yeah, look, even though seeing I guess is a sea keeper manje, but we do have a recording. He says him, DPP Chauke, Deputy JJ Du Toit. Actually, there is another recording at JJ Du Toit saying Wuti.
We've got there and they assess these people, say, no, look here, this thing. Remember they lied initially about Makomba Mumfana, Makawashi Lapana, yes, which is which was the most story and most of things. So they need to go back to them to say, look, we don't buy the story that there is somebody who came from around coming to commit robbery and whatever.
So according to you, Mr. Chauke, you are mhlampe ngingasho ukuthi ngamanye amazwi are saying ukuthi there is no one who came in.
Our theory now, from where we're sitting,
yes,
we suspect that the shooting happened amongst the people inside the house.
Okay.
Not that could come from somewhere as a committee robbery and.
Hey, shut up. We are back to another video. The page, it is what it is. I'm gonna play a video here, and please listen to some conspiracy theory that we have heard for over years. And then let me just remind you that the case against Tanzi is purely based on that fake confession, and telephone records are 2018, 2019, not 2014. So as much as they can speak, they're speaking about some telephone records after Senzo was deleted. Just watch it.
Was it a robbery? What was it? We've been briefed by the police to say this was not a robbery that went wrong. This was an assassination. So the one outstanding aspect here, and we're disappointed that it hasn't happened yet, is to address the mastermind. Because if there's a hit, there's a mastermind. So we're confident and we agree, when having gone through the evidence, that this is a hit.
things have been moving quite quickly. Now, the evidence of the cell phone expert who's analysed all the data from the various cell phones gathered at the scene and the people who were in the house is part of a larger mosaic of putting together a case, little bits and pieces at the time. Now, our office, prior to even the first trial starting, was briefed on the contents of the affidavit, and prosecutor or advocate Gerry Nel, the head of the unit, was always of the opinion that this was a hit, that it was not a robbery gone wrong. So to see the evidence being led yesterday certainly does suggest we're heading in that direction. It does, at the very least, ask for certain answers, questions rather, to be answered by certain implicated parties, and we hope that the evidence to come in the next witnesses that will be called by Prosecutor George Baloyi will head towards painting that picture by adding those little pieces of the mosaic towards the case which we believe is an assassination of Senzo Meyiwa.
So what do you think about the state's position on the fact that they said they were not intending to call Kelly Khumalo, whose name featured very strongly yesterday?
Well, it certainly raises the questions, and not having her as a witness could suggest that she might have been or could be called in some other capacity in the future. We don't want to speculate on that, just given that these matters are before court and we are hearing them live as it unfolds every day. But it's certainly, the evidence has raised questions. It has contributed to the belief on the study of the evidence that we are dealing with an assassination.
Yep. That's the fairy tale that we've been told for over years. But now my problem is that if you're saying Ntanzi, Gadla, Mapisa, and Duli communicated regarding the shooting of Meyiwa, you should have at least have the information for the day of the hit, because that is the day where you would expect them to communicate, as they would be planning on how to execute the hit. But nothing whatsoever existed. Remember that we were told that Kelly Khumalo had 8 cell phones. So the state had Section 205 for all those cell phones. So if someone has 8 cell phones, you would expect that you'll find some evidence in one of those cell phone numbers that belonged to that person. But nothing was found on those 8 cell phones of Kelly Khumalo, because there's no such evidence. If you have forgotten about that evidence, there are 8 cell phones. I'm going to play the video and then you'll see what the state is just lying here. If you've got 8 cell phones, I expect to find something incriminating in those cell phone numbers, because that's how the evidence works. If you looked at the Madlang Commission of Inquiry, that's how they caught Ulo Umkwanazi, Shibiri, as well as Ulo Uketmatlala. It's the way they communicated. They found information on their cell phone numbers. Even if you delete them, it's still there somewhere. It is saved somewhere in the cloud. But listen here to hear what Kelly Khumalo had 8 cell phone numbers where they should have found evidence, but Luto, la.
Kelly Khumalo had 8 cell phones.
8 cell phones, yes. Yeah, that's the point. Ms. Kelly Khumalo had 8 cell phones. Fine.
8 cell phones.
Yeah, so when you ask this witness about the communication regarding Kelly Khumalo, it must correlate with 8 cell phones.
I differ with the Lordship.
According to the state,
I differ, my Lord. I differ with the court.
With the court?
Yes, I differ with what the court is saying, that I must correlate with 8 cell phones.
No, but look, it's common sense. If I have 8 cell phones,
my Lord, Section 205 does not require common sense.
What does it require?
It requires scrutiny on what was registered on it as a database.
Fine.
But now, what may I submit by saying this?
Yeah.
So now, if Kelly Khumalo had 8 cell phone numbers, you'd expect a text or a phone call, not an internet call, a phone call which is made via an 08 number or 07 number. But the call that they have, that they say it's a link, it was made via an internet, meaning that it could be a Skype call, WhatsApp call, or BlackBerry Messenger call. But we know for the fact that in 2014 there was no WhatsApp call, so you can remove a WhatsApp call because that facility did not exist in 2014. So now back then in those days, people used to phone people using a cell phone number or send an SMS or something of that nature. But you as the state, you only have an internet call that Vodacom could not explain how was it made. Was it Skype? Was it BlackBerry Messenger? Colonel Stein came to court and could not explain how was that call made. And Pinky from Vodacom was asked about that internet call as well. She said she can't comment because that call was not made with a Vodacom number. She said yes, it was made with a Vodacom data or internet data, but not with the Vodacom number. So she cannot comment because she doesn't know what was it. But if someone has got 8 cell phone numbers, you would expect that he would send a text message or something of that nature. But in this case of Kelly Khumalo, they could not find any text message that was either communicating with Ugadla, Mapisa, Untuli, or Undanzi. So Undanzi is there in a dock answering questions call 2018, 2019, because the state does not have any calls in 2014 that implicate Undanzi. So now it's all about credibility, saying Danzi, you had cell phone in your prison cell and you phone your friends and your relatives. But that is after the effect, after Senzo had been killed. And Danzi has told us that when he was in prison, his cell phone was taken, so he was not the one that was making those calls in 2018, 2019, 2020, or whenever. But the key factor is that it's not in 2014 when the crime was committed. So the state is on this witch hunt, leading evidence, telephone calls, which took place after Senzo was shot and unalived. In my opinion, it is irrelevant because it does not link the accused to the planning and to the execution of the killing of Senzo Menyuwa. The case here is all about the shooting of Senzo Menyuwa, not about who you phoned in 2018, in 2020, and so on. That's irrelevant stuff, Baloyi. We need telephone communication that occurred in 2014. So now Danzi is expected to answer, okay, in 2014, your phone number phoned Ulebo. But that's irrelevant because usenzo weseshonile lapho. So ukuthi Baloyi yaphi nale evidence le angazi. So I expect uRamosopile to come today and try and debunk some of the lies that were told by Ubaloyi. The fact that they're saying that Ntanzi had his cell phone when he was incarcerated. Ubaloyi did not tell us ukuthi Ntanzi, how did you charge the cell phone when you were in prison? That is very important because if you've got a cell phone, at some point you have to charge it. But Baloyi did not ask Ntanzi that question, how did you charge it? So uRamosopile, I expect him to ask Ntanzi, if the state says you had a cell phone in prison, how did you charge it? I'm sure Ntanzi will say, my lord, I could not have had a cell phone in prison because there's no way I could have charged it. Because the cell phone has to be charged at any given time of the day. It could be at night or during the day or whenever. But at some point it has to be charged. So Ntanzi, how did he charge his cell phone if he had it in prison? That is the question that Ubaloyi did not ask. So Ramosopile must ask that question to Ntanzi. Was Ntanzi who's going to deny and say, my lord, that is not possible because in prison you cannot charge your cell phone. But I expect him to go hard on this which hunt Baloyi. And then uRamosopile, once it's done, I'm sure Mnisi, Mshololo, and Nxumalo will ask Ntanzi a few questions, but I do not expect them to ask them a lot of questions because Ntanzi has been on the stand for almost 2 months now. So he's tired. We need to move on. We need to move to other witnesses. So when Ntanzi is done with this re-examination, I expect that uRamosopile will bring in a new witness that will speak on behalf of Ntanzi. As I've said on the video that I posted yesterday, I want Ntanzi to address the issue of the alibi. Ntanzi, where were you on 26 October 2014? Because if you do not answer that question via a witness, then you're in trouble. So I expect Ntanzi to bring someone from his homeland, his brothers, sisters, relatives, or Umkhongi that was present when Ntanzi was doing his lobola negotiations and so on. So I expect that witness to be brought before court so that Ntanzi's story is told and there's no contradictions. Because the state has made this case all about credibility. If Ntanzi does not bring that witness, they're going to say, Ntanzi, you are lying because you did not bring a witness that confirms your alibi. And thereafter, as I've said, we need the other police officers that differed with Gininda, namely Joseph Buthelezi and Warren of Samakubo, because those are the ones that are going to debunk the lies of Brigadier Gininda. We know for the fact that Gininda is lying because Absalom Zungu has come to the court and told us that Gininda offered him money if he testified against accused number 1 and accused number 2. There was the evidence kababa Absalom Zungu. And Absalom Zungu went further and said, Gininda said, if I testify against Ntanzi and Sibiya, he'll send me overseas and give me money. And then Wabzungu was angakwenze. And then Wabzungu also told the court that his son, Constable Zungu, told him that the only reason that he testified in court was because he was promised a promotion within the SAPS. So we now know that Constable Zungu is a compromised witness because his own father has put him under the bus. So I expect Ramsepile to bring more witnesses that will debunk state lies and state conspiracy theories, namely the one that was mentioned by Advocate Kharanele Ukuthi this was a contract killing. If it was a contract killing, show us evidence, show us communication between Ukeli Khumalo and the accused. Don't show us that one communication link which happened via an internet data or whatever. We need text or actual phone calls that were made by either of any of the accused. We are told that that call that was made by accused number 5 via internet data, it was made when Kelly Khumalo was in Mpumalanga. We need an AVL Kelly Khumalo to show where she was when that call was made. The same as the AVL record of Constable Zungu when he was at hostel. Because it does not support his theory. If Constable Zungu was indeed at the hostel, Baloyi would have brought AVL Constable Zungu because Constable Zungu was driving a police vehicle on the day that Senzo was shot. And we know that all police vehicles are fitted with an AVL. How do we know that? Well, General Khumalo went to the Madlang Commission of Inquiry and told the commission that all police cars are fitted with an AVL. So the story is about AVL abatholi amanga wodwa lawo. They're hiding the AVL motor Zungu on the day Senzo was killed because the AVL would tell the court ukuthi Constable Zungu is lying. He was never at Phosphorus on the day. So that is why Ubaloyi and Sebanda and Gininda are not providing us with the AVL kabani Constable Zungu. Plus, they did not bring us any Section 205 kabani Constable Zungu because our telephone records Zungu are also going to tell us where he was on the day. If he was at Phosphorus, we're going to have some telephone record which shows his cell phone number pinging around the hostel in Phosphorus. But because that did not happen, Ubaloyi did not provide our telephone record kabani Constable Zungu, but he is able to bring us our telephone records, accused number 5 and accused number 3, because it's easy to get them. But Constable Zungu for some reasons known to him. But